Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, a spotlight podcast. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
All right, so as Michiganders, we have pretty solid access to quality baseball. Most are loyal to the beloved Detroit Tigers, but if you roam around the state, you're going to find a lot of serious baseball in most cities. Here to discuss the kickoff to what we hope is a normal, non-pandemic affected season is the general manager for the Lansing Lugnuts, Mr. Tyler Parsons. Welcome back to the show, Tyler.
No, I appreciate you having me on, Chris. And yeah, normal sounds great.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're due, right? So I don't think we haven't spoken since last April.
Yeah,
where we give you a little preseason kickoff as to what we can expect this year. So just to kind of get everyone's juices flowing a little bit, talk about how long Lansing has had a baseball team here.
Yeah, this is always a tricky question for me now after the pandemic. So we've been here 26 years and we've completed 25 seasons. So this will technically be our 26th season and our 27th year because 2020 we didn't actually have an official Lugnut season.
Right.
So whoever has the Lugnuts GM job and like the 50th anniversary is going to have their math all messed up. So I tell people. So.
Right on. So about 25 years we've had baseball here, which is great. So now we're an affiliated team, right? Talk a little bit about what affiliated teams and unaffiliated teams, really what that means to people who maybe don't know. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, as part of these last couple of years, but specifically last year, we had a complete reshuffling with minor league baseball. And it went from 160 teams to 120 that are now deemed as affiliated baseball, which means we get our prospects directly from a major league club. So for us here in Lansing, we are an affiliate of the Oakland Athletics. So every player that's on our roster is either drafted or signed from Oakland and assigned here to Lansing. So there's only 120 teams in all the entire country really that are affiliated now in that regard. So we're fortunate to continue being one of those ones and have been here for over 25 years now, and we did get a bump up recently after 2021. We were a low A team in the Midwest League for our first 25 years, and then starting last year, we got bumped up a level to high A.
Okay, so what does that mean for the layperson?
It just means our players are 1 year more developed and a little bit older and just a little bit more seasoned and experienced. So like a perfect example, I tell people, like last year, we had one player on our team that was under 21, which prior to that would have been kind of wild for us to have something like that. So just a more experienced player and one higher level on the rung of the ladder as they move up to the major league level.
Got it. Okay. And then the other affiliated teams, we've got two others, right? The Great Lakes Loons, which is out of Midland. Is
Correct,
that right?
Yep.
And then West Michigan Whitecaps.
Correct. And both those teams are in our league. We play them a ton.
Yeah.
Great rivalries with both them. Obviously, the Loons are a Dodgers affiliate.
Okay. And
the Whitecaps obviously are the hometown Detroit Tigers affiliate.
Perfect. And so where does that pecking order go then? If someone does really well at, say, in Grand Rapids, where would they go next?
So in the Tigers system, they would go from Grand Rapids to Erie, Pennsylvania, to Erie Seawolves, then to Toledo.
Okay, that's Toledo. Yeah.
Yep, and then
Mud
to
Hens.
the Tigers, and then for us, they'd go to from Lansing to Midland, Texas, to Las Vegas, then to Oakland.
Got it. All right. Fantastic. So we kicked off a little bit about talking about the pandemic. So, it's April of 2022 and we have a new season staring us in the face. Remind everyone, you mentioned 2020 complete washout?
2020 was. 2021 was, I'd say a 75% season if I had to put a percentage on it. Certainly was not normal to start off with by any means. I mean, we sit back and you kind of look through these last 2 years, and I think for any business, it can be kind of surreal sometimes. I mean, this year at this time, or last year at this time, we were preparing for 20% capacity, and
that's right. Yeah. There was limitations as to how many people you could put in there, right?
We were, and we're literally tying off seats and doing all this stuff, and we were thrilled to get to 20% because 2020 we operated our capacity was 100. In an 11,000 seat stadium, and obviously made for some definite challenges with having people there. But step by step, we've kind of dug out of this pandemic a little bit. And I don't think we're out of it completely. We're not naive enough to think that, but I think we're as normal as it's been since 2019 for us.
Right. So the transition to high A means a whole new coaching staff, whole new players. I mean, it's really, and we were also a Blue Jays affiliate for a long time.
Correct,
and so that was a massive shift over to the Oakland A's, right?
It was. And that shift happened as part of 2021 too. So we tell everyone if you're going to make changes, just do it all in 1 year. So we changed, affiliations, we changed leagues, we changed stadium names. We are now Jackson Field. So you find every little nook and cranny where you have a logo in a facility after you go through all those changes.
Right.
But, I had 15 great years with the Blue Jays, and just as the reshuffling worked out, we just ended up with Oakland and have a 10-year agreement with those guys. So,
well, I would just tell you that I think as a citizen here that we're just grateful that we still have quality baseball in town. Who they're affiliated with, I guess, is probably a little less important as to the product on the field.
Absolutely. I mean, I will be a little upset if the Blue Jays do win the World Series this year, though. That'll hurt me a little bit, obviously, with all those guys coming here through Lansing. So it is kind of weird where you kind of have like this, ex-wife that we still remember fondly, obviously, that has, all these great players and prospects that came through here in Lansing. And, just during our time here, we started off as a Royals affiliate. We had some years as a Cubs affiliate. People remember the Mark Pryor rehab appearance and stuff. Then with the Blue Jays and now with the A's. So we've had 4 total affiliations here in Lansing. Okay.
So do you think it was easier or harder to have all that transition happen in a season that was has an asterisk next to it? I mean, I guess you played all the games, but the attendance was kind of limited and it was just the world wasn't really fully awake yet. Do you think that made it easier for everyone to kind of work out the kinks and get into a new culture, or did that compound all of the problems you guys were dealing with?
I would say a little bit of both. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but, having gone through it now and seeing how things transitioned throughout the year, and as we kind of got into mid-June, early July, things got a little bit normal. But as far as the transition period, the biggest challenges we had were just some of the restrictions in-person stuff. Okay. I mean, there's people with the A's or with the team that we didn't get a chance to really ever meet in person, or were very, very limited in contact in person. Even our coaching staff, unless we were outdoors by the dugouts, we couldn't have these one-on-one meetings in the locker room, stuff like that. So it was just, we had to be, very, very safe and err on the side of caution due to COVID stuff last year. Certainly have some of those protocols still in place right now, but it's not near as strict as it was. But for me, again, being able to be the general manager and not go down in the locker rooms just because of the COVID protocols we had, it created some challenges sometimes, and we all learned Zoom and FaceTime and phone communication, and we made the best of it.
So, we don't need to get too deep into the economics of it, but that's got to be hard to not have a box office, right? I mean, or if you're selling, a tenth of the tickets that are able to, I mean, can you still manage as a team? I guess the Oakland A's must have to just kind of step up and make sure that your funding is figured out. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, so that is one of those big questions we always get asked about, and certainly 2020 was tough. Even through 2021. We had to scale our operation and really just had to, our employees from across the board, we unfortunately had some furloughs and layoffs as we were trying to figure out and navigate this, because we tell people all the time in minor league baseball and your minor league sports in general, we don't have any of this TV revenue coming in or digital revenue. The dollars we make and how our business functions is based on having people inside the stadium. And when you're limited in that or can't do that, it certainly has some financial repercussions to it. So we did whatever we possibly could do inside that stadium within those restrictions, and I'm incredibly proud of what our staff did over those last 2 years, from really 2020 and into half into 2021 with, hey, we know we have these restrictions in place, but let's figure out what we can do and how we can get people here and bring our community together and still do some things that obviously keep our business healthy. And just continue to fight through it, really. But when it comes to that kind of structure and those struggles, the Major League Baseball teams and our affiliates are very hands off. They're not here to give any helping hands. Their entire structure with us in minor league baseball is, hey, we're going to send you guys players and coaches and kind of have this governance structure in place. You guys handle the business operations and make sure this is the best possible place for our players to start their careers. So, certainly we're all in the same battle together. I mean, when we're in sports and entertainment industry, but hats off to our staff. But really, I mean, for us, the biggest thing and how we navigated through this was the community, our fans, our sponsors. Everyone stuck behind us from day one, really, and just said, hey, however we can help, we're here to support you guys. Let's get through this pandemic and let's get back to doing some Lugnuts baseball.
Excellent. Okay. And then you have concessions. I mean, that's got to be a whole different cobweb too, because they were not allowed to be open for a long time, I think, right? And then they were able to open up later on. So, and that's a big revenue maker, I would imagine, for any kind of stadium. So that's
Chris, you're bringing up all these great memories for me today. No,
sorry, bringing the sunshine right out.
Yeah, we certainly had a lot of challenges, and again, it was. It's just surreal looking back on it now, and how we navigated stuff, and really, I mean, the light switch flipped really early June. So we went from 20% capacity, and they went, all right, we're going 100% now, and it's like that's a really, really good thing.
Yep.
But from a business, when you shift from 20% and operating that way and way your staff to going to 100%, we're like, holy cow, we got to get ready. And fortunately for us, this community really responded, and we had some amazing crowds and amazing moments. And I would say the back half of 2021 felt somewhat normal for us and getting people out. So,
all right, well, let's look forward, right?
Yeah.
So you got a new skipper, right? New manager on the field, coach?
We do. His name is Phil Poole. He is a unique story in Major League Baseball and in the minor league baseball sense. He was the A's bullpen catcher for the last couple of years, but was a Clemson guy, but actually played his high school baseball and was a celebrated, decorated high school baseball star in Cooperstown.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
I've heard of that place.
Yeah,
got a Hall of Fame of some sort up there.
Some Hall of Fame or some sort. So he obviously has a really cool homegrown story for Cooperstown, and ended up at Clemson. I remember talking to Jake Boss here at Michigan State, who obviously is the coach of the Spartans, and he remembers recruiting Phil at one point in time. So it's just it's crazy how it goes full circle. But we're excited to have Phil, and I will tell you right now, he has, I think, the best mustache of any manager right now in all of minor league baseball. So we're really excited for him to showcase that off for the fans.
All right, Google Images, right?
Exactly.
All right, what's his name again?
Phil Poole.
Phil Poole. P-O-O-L?
P-O-H-L.
P-O-H-L. Okay, perfect. All right, and then you've also got a great prospect coming through, right? So we got some real talent coming in. Talk about that person.
We do. We're really excited about our roster this year, and we got a catcher by the name of Tyler Soderstrom, who is the A's top prospect in their system, former first-round pick who's kind of made his way up through high school, or since high school, but he's probably the highest-rated prospect we've had in Lansing since a couple of guys named Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette back in 2017. So to encourage our fans, hey, get out and see Tyler and see all these great players we have in our system right now. I mean, you never know who you're going to see, and that's what I tell people from our end, but also on the visiting teams. I mean, you think of Mike Trout and Miguel Cabrera and David Ortiz. I mean, these are all players that have come through the Midwest League over the years and played right here in Lansing.
Right on. No, that's fantastic. You're right. You never know who's coming up. I remember seeing Granderson. Was playing at the Lugnuts when not the Lugnuts, the Mud Hens when I lived in Toledo for a couple of years, season ticket holder. I'm like, oh, this Granderson guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
Went on to have a very storied career. I think he's out of the league now.
I think you're right. But yeah, when you get to AAA, sometimes you're like, hey, this guy looks pretty good. Like I remember when we had Vlad Guerrero Jr. here, we're like, this guy's got a chance. We think,
right. So he won't be here long. So come out and see him while you can. That's great. Okay, so you got some new talent, and so have you been doing spring training? I mean, do they travel for that? Because it seems like it's been cold here to do any real workouts here. I don't really know what you guys do preseason.
So our team just arrived here on Saturday from Arizona.
Okay.
A spring training is out in Mesa,
Cactus
Arizona.
League, right?
Yep. So they flew in, and we got them here, and what a welcome Michigan experience for the weather as the guys came from Arizona. And we've had, I think, every type of precipitation to start off with, but guys had practice on Sunday for a little while. They have a long practice today. And of course, we have the Crosstown Showdown starting tomorrow.
I was going to ask you that. So tell everyone about that in case they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Crosstown Showdown has been going on for 13 years, and now it's presented by our great partners at Delta Dental. And it's an annual tradition where the Lugnuts play Michigan State in an exhibition game. And it's one of its kind in all of professional sports and collegiate sports. You don't see another exhibition like this. And just super, super cool, and one that we've had a lot of great memories with over the years. And hats off to MSU, obviously to the A's and the Blue Jays before that for continuing this tradition to go on.
Right,
so we
that's a good point.
Yeah, a ton of fun with it. And again, 7-inning game. Doesn't officially count, obviously, in the scorebooks, but what a cool opportunity for us to bridge our two communities together. And then for MSU, it's a chance to really see how they stack up against these guys that are already drafted and see some of these prospects and really just have that connectivity between our two communities. So
that's great. And so we're recording this on, what is it, April? It's the 5th, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see when this actually gets released. But the date for the Crosstown Showdown is
April 6th. So Wednesday, April 6th.
Got it. Okay. And then the regular season, when does that begin?
So our official regular season will start on Friday, April 8th. So that'll be a 6 p.m. game, and that's kind of the official start. We welcome the Lake County captains, who are now a Cleveland Guardians affiliate.
It's funny. Yeah, I won't even get into that. But I totally missed that. For as much as the football team, the Redskins football team, becomes the Commanders. And then I looked up and saw some stat on a post that talked about the Guardians. I'm like, I had to Google it. I'm like, who are the Guardians? I didn't realize that they made that change. I'm surprised I was out of touch.
We just forgot about it sometimes too. It's one of those ones where you see the change and you kind of sticks in your head, and then you kind of just forget about it. Then you see actual rosters and press releases, and you're like, oh yeah, they're the Guardians.
They're the Guardians. That's right. Okay, so we're gonna go nuts on Friday the 8th, and so you start with a home series.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, got it. So you're not on the road yet. And how far does your team travel? For those who don't know, I mean, how big is your division?
So we are a 12-team league in the Midwest League. So this is a great question, Chris, because I haven't had asked this in a couple of years now. So we travel as far west, I think, as would be Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I think is probably as far that way we go, and probably as far east as Lake County.
County where?
Lake County, Ohio, which would be right outside Cleveland.
Got it.
And as far north as Appleton, Wisconsin, or Beloit, Wisconsin. So we're all kind of hodgepodge here in the Midwest. I don't know if there's a number of states anymore that we have, but we used to go down to Bowling Green, Kentucky, but then they got shifted to another league starting last year. So
excellent. Well, I mean, a great conversation. Anything else we need to know before we can go nuts this summer?
No, I think we're excited to have everyone out. This is our first April since 2019, so we're getting used to this weather all over again. But we have 67 total games this year, starting April 8th, goes all the way through September 11th, and then playoffs after that. So looking forward to have everyone out. Go nuts.
Where do we get tickets?
LansingLugnuts.com, or you can just stop by our box office there at Jackson Field.
Fantastic. We've been talking to the general manager of the Lansing Lugnuts, Mr. Tyler Parsons. Hey, thanks so much for being with me again today.
I appreciate it as always, Chris.